Thank you for joining us today on this Onionhead Andrew podcast. It's Saturday, a little bit after 3. That's the normal time for if you're listening to this recorded. Today, what I'm going to do is we're going to have a brief share where I'm going to show you a man named Kenneth Wheeler, and he's going to show you his theory on electricity. It's super functional stuff, and it will really help as people think about their wearables and magnetism, the magnetic element to it, which last week I called, if you haven't seen it, go back and watch it, at least the first chunk when I'm explaining. Of course, the last bit is the Q&A. But in the last bit of the first chunk, I was talking about 301 being magnets added to the conductive layer, and how you're adding a little bit of complexity to these rudimentary circuits that you're wearing. Well, I wanted to give you a little bit of idea of where I learned that. And again, this is from Theoria Aposphia on YouTube. That's his channel. We're going to watch one of his most important videos very quickly. And it's like 14 minutes long, but I think we're only going to watch the first 5 minutes of it because that's where the big points are. And I'm going to try to explain it to you simply how I understand it, which I would say I have about a 95% understanding of what he's talking about any given time. His vocabulary is much better than mine. Okay, so with that in mind, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to start sharing it. For everyone that can't see, I'll explain it as we're going on. So expect me to, oh, that's interesting. The file I pre-set up is not on there. Very interesting. Okay, so I'm going to do this in real time. I'm going to go and I'm going to set it up on YouTube real quick. I did pre-plan this, but it's not working for some reason. Either way, so what he has done is he has figured out a way to simplify magnetism in a way that no one before him has ever done. It's absolutely amazing how simple it really is once you understand what he's saying. And it sounds like a lot of words at first, which you probably won't be able to hear because it's not loaded in the broadcast like it should be. But there it is. Okay. Here's the video. I'm going to screen share in just 1 second. Give me 1 second. But very, very few people, I can't name one other person that's explained it like he does. And it's all about that idea of pressure modalities. And modalities is a fancy word for mode. All right, so different modes. Can someone chime in real quick and see and tell me if they can see what I see?
I can see it.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. All right, so we're going to start off. And, hey, Sadie, real quick, tell me if you can hear it.
Yep, I can hear it.
You can hear it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. All right, so...
I can't hear it that well.
Okay, well, it's going to turn back on in a second. There's also captions here. So for everyone that's not able to, I'm going to explain it. And I'll start off explaining it. Right in front of us, he's got a ring. It's like it's got like 5, 6 rings inside this ring, and it's made out of a thin metal band. Okay, and these rings are, and I'm going to go ahead and play it.
That's so important.
So an infinite point of non-spatial volume would be like a point on a piece of paper or a line, okay? Okay, so for everyone that can't hear, all Kenneth has said so far is that the people that invented the electrical grid as we know it all believed in this etheric physics, and that Einsteinian physics has given us nothing besides junk theory, which I do generally ascribe to that belief system too. Always have. That dark matter and dark energy now, and all of that, they openly say is just to fulfill equations, basically to make equations work. They added these factors. All right, so that's all he said so far. He's going to explain the model very quickly.
Anyway, as the floor is still very, we only there's only one field.
Okay, the one field that he's talking about is the ether, and the two field modalities, you should be familiar with this if you've been listening to me, is magnetism on one side and electrostatic or dielectric on the other side. That's what he means. So two modes, same force, manifesting from stable to unstable or from unstable to stable. In the stable form, the field represents as dielectric or electrostatic. In the unstable form, it represents as magnetism. All right?
So important. So important.
Okay, yeah. Thank you, Sandy. This is the idea that once you really understand, will push you through. All right? And when enough people understand this that are targeted, I think I might have been the first in the world. That's why I'm talking to you right now. But when enough people understand this that are the first person to share. There's probably been people before me, but enough people understand this, the solutions that we have are going to be endless. The solutions that we have right now are coming from me thinking about it, all right? Like I said earlier, I might be smart, but there's a smarter person within a stone's throw of me, all right? So the more people that really grasp this idea that Kenneth is showing us, Mr. Wheeler, the further and faster we're all going to go. And it's not just about targeting, it's the whole thing. From the weather weapons to the biological weapons and everything in between. All the things that are happening to society on the bad scale can be interrupted and reconfigured if people really understood that all the energy is manifesting from the ether into the dielectric electrostatic realm or the magnetic realm. And when you have those two polarities, all right, when you're present in the same space, that's electricity. That's literally how electricity comes to be. When you have a polarized ether field, which is to say you have very high pressure and very low pressure right next to each other, it creates an oscillation that makes electricity.
Yep. He's right on. He is right on.
It's so important. It couldn't be more important. Okay, so I'm going to let Kenneth say the same thing I just said. But again, I got this from him. Okay, so what he just said is through the loss of inertia is how we get magnetism. Let me translate that to a very simple concept. High pressure is electrostatic, right? When you move into low pressure, it moves into a physical, spatial phenomena that we call magnetism, which is 3D in nature and looks like a toroidal field.
Which means slowing it down.
Yeah, exactly. Yep, that's exactly right. So it moves from a high pressure system, which looks like a ring or a line. That's what he was saying earlier. And when that force slows down, we experience it in a spatial way, which makes this 3D interaction with reality that we could say looks like a donut, which is to say a toroidal field.
God, I want to say something.
Let me describe that the creation of space and both the compare and the man of space to space, and the editor of moving to that scale that they call
Okay, so he just said a lot, and I'm going to make it really simple. Space and time are a phenomena of magnetism. Magnetism is the ether field slowing down. So imagine 0 is like the ether in an undisturbed state, and 5 is neutral, and anything after 5 is magnetic, and anything before 5 is dielectric. And you've got a good idea of what's happening. We don't...
Wait, can I say, I'm going to interrupt. So what we're doing with our modalities being the foil and your copper and your all the things that we wear, that's what we're talking about. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, thank you for making that relevant. That's a great point. The saran wrap, which is an insulator, the conductor, and hold on a second. Please mute yourself. Sandy's chiming in because she's done the work. She understands this in a way that most people don't. Oh, it's so annoying. Okay, hold on. Hey, 470, mute yourself.
Okay.
Thank you.
Basically, our modalities are giving us a force that is beating off what they're trying to put on us.
The energy that they're attacking you with is either electrostatic or magnetic. The conductor, insulator, and copper wire, and then later magnets, which is why we're going over this right now, added to the conductor layer, is dissipating that. If they're adding electrostaticism to your body in some areas, you can add magnetism in those areas and equate it, right? So neutralize it.
And sometimes you have to reverse that modality. Sometimes you reverse it and it's better. So sometimes you connect the batteries to you on, like I put them on my arm, and where they both connect to one another. And sometimes I'll reverse that, and it just depends. And one works better for the other.
Okay, so what Sandy was saying is that sometimes she uses magnets in polarity. In polarity, the magnets create a dielectric sink, which is to say a counterspatial force that neutralizes magnetism. If you were to take those same magnets and flip them around, or one of them around, so that they're in reverse polarity, the conductive layer it's interacting with would have a magnetic effect, a magnetic field within it. So you can take magnets, but also just the conductors, insulators, and copper wire, and neutralize these charges where they appear on your body. Now, if you haven't used the DIY EMP stun gun, right, this is going to be a lot harder to do because the stun gun, or the implants, are working as little dielectric sinks to grab heavy metals and clump them all over your body. Okay, so they hit you with the magnetic weapon. The implants take the magnetic particles that you're breathing and eating primarily, and they move them into your body, and then the dielectric sinks grab them and make clumps from point A to point B, and you've got this heavy metal backstop of frequency, okay? And that's where your exponential targeting will take place. It'll go from a little to a lot in a short period of, like, say, 8 hours. So if you jumped in the ocean and you were in salt water, cold salt water, your body would rid itself of most of these heavy metals very quickly. Very quick detox process, talking like 10 minutes, something like that. over the span of the next 6 to 8 hours, depending on how targeted you are, these heavy metals would reform along the implants. That's the beauty of doing the deactivating implants as phase 1. All right. When you've done that, then the people attacking you, they move into new weapon sets, right, where they're using magnetic weapons and dielectric weapons to replace the implants that you have deactivated. All right. So
and you can feel those when they swap
mm-hmm.
that. You can feel it when you're protected. You can feel it. You can feel exactly where it's coming from.
Yeah, you can feel where it's coming from, and you can feel the field on you interacting with you. Say that was magnetic or that was dielectric. Okay. So, for example, as I've started this broadcast right now, they've changed the weapon sets on me 2-3 times, because they're trying to do anything to stop me from telling you how these things exist. And if they can disrupt me any given way with these different weapon sets at any given time, they're going to try it. So the armor that I'm using has to be able to deal with. Yep. This is what they'll do. Once you break through, they're going to want to keep those chains on you. But the armor that I'm wearing has to be able to deal with magnetic attacks and dielectric attacks, right? And it's not even electrostatic dielectric. And it's not even one range of magnetic or one range of electrostatic. It's whatever weapon set they've got for that given area. Okay?
Exactly. I love it.
That's what we're going through, okay? So go ahead and mute yourselves, everybody, please. And we're going to finish this, Kenneth. There's not that much left. Mr. Wheeler. 757. All right. I'm going to have to... Okay.
Here we have dielectricity, and that's the ionization. There's a linear propagation. Now, we think of a single point in ether as being manifest. Along with physical propagation, such as sound and electromagnetism.
So if you're twitching at night and can't sleep at night, if it's not, when you're driving down the street, which it is for me, but if you are having trouble at night, you need to sleep in your modalities of what Andrew's talking about. It's
okay. Sandy, did you hear the video?
Yeah.
Okay. Can we let this finish and then we'll get into that?
Yeah.
Okay, because it's almost done.
Okay.
Here we have dielectricity. So that's the only now, with this particular point in ether as being manifest, only the physical propagation. Of the electric and here we have
Okay, so keeping it very simple, what he was showing this device, right, that's got these rings that makes a loose toroidal, and he was squeezing it back and forth, showing an amplitude of compression, right, or expansion and compression, tension and compression. Right, that tension and compression, when it happens rapidly in a given amount of space and time, creates what we call electricity. All right, so in general, when they're targeting you, what they're trying to do is they're trying to create a chain of polarization in your body from one point to another, very magnetic on one end, very dielectric on the other. Generally speaking, that's flipped. So it's flipped from the natural processes that goes in your body. Naturally, there's a dielectric or electrostatic accumulation at your feet, and there's a magnetic accumulation at your head. They're trying to reverse the polarity of your body and increase the electrification of it in this artificial nervous system. All right, so again, when you understand that concept and you understand what material and what places can negate that, you'll be...
Oh my gosh, that's right on.
there's nothing more that you can do, because that's the foundational knowledge that you will use to implement any sort of different solution. So what we're dealing right now is the first era of solutions. Once somebody hearing this information, maybe not from me, but from somebody else that's here right now or going to be here in the future, will take the same foundational knowledge and figure out some solution that will be unbelievable. But it's with this foundational knowledge that we break this whole thing. All right?
I'm telling you that cellophane is a crucial thing. Cellophane.
Okay, so
after you wrap,
mm-hmm.
after you put your protective stuff on, your
Mm-hmm.
modality, you need to wrap in cellophane. Cellophane is not only cellophane, but the mylar. That's so crucial.
Okay, so let me translate that real quick. The cellophane, or the saran wrap, whatever you want to call it, plastic wrap, what it's doing is it's a dielectric accumulator. All right, it's basically storing electrostaticism or dielectricism on it. It's like building it up, okay? The conductor is allowing magnetism to travel through it. That's what conductors really do. And dielectricism to some extent, but conductors have an ability to move energies through them. That's a better way to say it. So an insulator accumulates dielectricism. Conductor is facilitating the movement of energies, and copper is neutrally aligned, which is say it is slightly dielectric, the material, but it's not full-blown dielectric. It only holds a slight dielectric charge. Okay?
So what I'm discovering so much is you can wrap a battery to, not a battery, a magnet. A very thick, long magnet with a lot of cellophane, and that's also, oh my God, that helps so much. You cannot.
That's great.
You cannot.
That's fantastic. I never thought of that, Sandy. But let's figure it out in real time what that's doing. This is the 301 that I'm talking about. The more people that are doing this, the more solutions we're going to have. When you take saran wrap and you wrap it around that magnet, what's going to happen is that more magnetic field is going to interact and less dielectric.
I'm telling you, I do that, and I wake up, and my arm is not numb anymore. So I take whatever that neo, I can't say the the magnet.
Neodymium?
Neodymium.
Yeah.
The 4-inch magnet, and I put it on my arm, and I tape that, and then I take saran wrap, and I saran wrap my arm. And then in the morning, I'm not numb. You know, there's no abuse to that arm. And
okay.
So what I do is I specifically go body part by body part that's suffering, you know, so I can go, okay, is this body part suffering? This body part's not suffering. So I do it. I try to do it one limb, one and that's kind of like yoga. So you want to
have that awareness.
Right. You've got to divide your body into segments so much. So you divide it in what's affecting, what's working, what's not working. And that's how I have slowly gone, this works really great. And cellophane, motherfucker, cellophane is the best thing that actually, really, I have the modalities, but, you know, if you just take mylar and the cellophane, those two at night work a lot. So if you just, like, wrap your leg in mylar and then you take cellophane, wrap, it really works good. Now, if I stick a magnet in there, then I'm not numb on that side, and I don't have that numbness. So I'm just working through each individual thing that works and that doesn't work. And I'm wake up in the morning and I go, oh my God, I slept all night long. So individually, if I try one thing on one specific body part, it works.
Okay,
So,
hey, Sandy. This is all good information for everyone. I really appreciate you.
I mean,
Can you? I know. It's hard when you figure all this out and you still get attacked. It's hard psychologically because it's like you have to win this battle every day. And I understand exactly, where you're standing on that. But can you take a pen and paper, and I legitimately say this, I'm not just saying it, and write down some of the ideas that you want to share, and then when we get done with this part, you can start sharing them, and that way other people can comment and ask you questions, and I can explain it and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
I would really appreciate if you just made a little guideline notes that you could come back to in just a few minutes, because I'm going to open it up in just a few minutes. And it is beneficial for everyone to hear what you figured out, and not just hear from me. Okay, so here we are, and this Kenneth Wheeler, and he's compressing this toroidal field into a more squished toroidal field, I guess you would say. And he's saying that's what generates electricity, is that oscillation between the toroidal field and the ring in which it came from. And that ring is indicative of dielectricism, right? Or a line. He says line, but you could also look at it as a ring, right? But it's not spatial. That's the main thing. It doesn't become spatial until it crosses that neutral standpoint and is in that toroidal magnetic realm, okay? And that's why we knew when we started learning about all this as a humanity, that's what I mean by we first categorized all of these things as magnetic, because magnetism is spatial. We interact with it. It's a phenomenon that we can see and interact with, obviously. And dielectricism is counterspatial, all right? And that's what, and I'm going to briefly say this, but that's what Tesla was doing at Wardenclyffe, all right? It's like, man, when you understand the physics behind all of this, you truly understand how simple it all is. Then a lot of these big thinkers like Tesla, I mean, he was very smart, but he also said himself that he got all of this through prayers and sleeping, all right? These are not huge ideas. You do not need to have a rocket scientist level of math to figure this stuff out. They've made it like that with Einsteinian physics. But before Einsteinian physics, before that bastardization, there was this concept, right, that Kenneth Wheeler has figured out very simply to explain. So we'll continue and see what else he has to say. There's not much left. So voltage, just to explain this using what he's talking about, voltage is polarity. It's that huge difference between the dielectric and the electric, or the magnetic. The greater the distance you can make that polarity, the higher the voltage is. It's literally that simple. The amplitude is how much, or the current, is how much of that polarity is moving through a given moment, right? A given time, space, however you're interacting with it. Okay, the Gauss field that he was talking about, the electricity manifesting into the Gauss field, is really that the dielectric element, which is counterspatial, is no longer present. It makes a spatial phenomena called the Gauss field that is harnessed in the electromagnet utilized to pick up cars. So that's someone a long time ago figuring this out, that whether they knew or not with the physics behind it, they figured out rightly that they could take the electricity and manifest it into a spatial phenomena and manifest that spatial phenomena with picking up cars. Okay? This huge point here. The majority of what we're being attacked with is utilizing the same concept. That Gauss field that he was talking about that's present in the electromagnet, now put that into a ray the size of a $50, right, or a quarter or a dime, and aim that at someone, all right? And aim that at heavy metals in someone, or aim that at implants that have heavy metals around them, and you've got what happens with the targeted individual. It's literally that simple if you understand the physics of it. Okay, and this is another big point. When people are saying there's nothing you can do, you can't beat these directed energy weapons, they're always going to be there, they're full of shit, excuse my language, but they're full of crap. And because there is not enough electricity that these drones can hold that you can't deal with, right? They would literally have to park a Humvee in front of your house and aim it from near point blank, and everyone would see and game would be over, right? If they did that, they would have to do things like that, and they've done things like that to me. Had weaponized cars sit right outside my house. They have like 4 of them right now, 5 of them, something like that, right? Aimed at me, right? And there's only so much electricity they can generate from these systems that can penetrate these physical barriers in my space. And not just the physical barriers like the walls that are made of plaster, the windows or whatnot, but the actual air between. Okay, so once it interacts with its environment and into you, the main thing is going to be, is there that heavy metal clump that it can hook into? If there's not a heavy metal clump that it can hook into, it's going to be negotiable. It's going to be negatable, all right? If there is that heavy metal clump, i.e. a backstop, something that can work as a sink, then it potentially won't be, right? You could enter a very quick downward spiral in your life, which many of us have experienced at one time or another, which could end up manifesting as chronic inflammation, disease, and death, all right? But that heavy metal clump more or less has to be there for energy to surpass the physical barriers of time and space, which is to say magnetism. There's rules to these things. There's rules to magnetism. I don't just make a weapon system and aim it at you and there's nothing you can do, right? It's like that's not true of any weapon system. Whether you're talking about the most extreme element of it, which would be like nukes, missiles like that, things like that, or you're talking about like the most insidious element, which is these undirected energy weapons that we're constantly being bathed in. They all follow rules of the reality that we're in, all right? All of them, and it's all to scale. And this is the scale that directed energy weapons interact with you on. So when someone tells you it's hopeless and there's nothing you can do because they're so far in the future, and it's sci-fi tech. Yeah, I hear this from smart people all the time. There's sci-fi tech and there's nothing you can do, and if you only knew what they were doing in deep underground military bases in Antarctica, you would think the same thing. And it's like, okay,
I've been kicked off 3 times now, so oh my God, there's got to be something that we're talking about that is important, because I've never been kicked off like this.
Mm-hmm. But so yeah, definitely, this is this big secret, and it's not just to surviving directed energy weapons. This is the secret that they've been hiding for the last 120 years. People talk about free energy. People talk about all these wonderful advancements. Like, and if it's possible, if it's not, well, I can guarantee you, with just this knowledge here, And if you think about it intensely and you really learn it, you understand free energy is everywhere. It's not just a possibility. It's manifest around you 24/7. And if it wasn't, you wouldn't have life. And people go, well, what about the sun? What about the sun? The sun gives energy and then it transforms all these different things. It's like, okay, yes, but no, that's not really the case. All right, the sun is just one more feature in the ether providing us with energy for blah, blah. And I'm getting off. So let's finish this.
The plastic wrap? Super?
Okay, we're going to stop there. It is important what he was talking about, but it's a little bit over our purview right now. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to...
Well, what I was kind of putting in the chat was what what I have thought as overrated was plastic wrap, but what I have discovered is plastic wrap is like, oh my God, it is such a, it's so important. So don't overestimate the plastic wrap. I don't know how to describe what I'm trying to say.
That's okay. So the plastic wrap is working with dielectric, the electrostatic dielectric realm of things, and the conductor is working more in the magnetic scale of things. But they both have a transferable effect on both sides of the spectrum. When you layer the two of the insulative and the conductive materials in, say, three sets, so plastic, aluminum, plastic, aluminum, plastic, aluminum, you make a capacitor. And in between those outer layers of plastic with all the metal layers in between, it makes a dielectric sink. And on the other side of it, on the edges of it, there's like a magnetic preponderance. Now, when you take conductor
so
wire...
what Andrew's saying on top of all of that,
Mm-hmm.
if you wrap that over with plastic wrap, it's impenetrable.
Well, no, it's not. So it's not impenetrable. That's not the right way of thinking of it. Because if they tune up the electrostaticism in the directed energy weapon or tune down the magnetism, then there's a propensity to get through it. They can, with the right weapon set, you can potentially overcome any electric component. But it can be. True. But check this out. You build that capacitor, and then you wrap it with copper wire. The copper wire is making an inductor field. It's taking dielectric energy and converting it to magnetism. Then the capacitor that I described earlier is taking magnetic energy and converting it to dielectric. When you pair those two together, you've made a resonant circuit that's no longer dielectric preponderance or magnetic preponderance.
So
and now
I know that we
hold on, Sandy. Yep. That's the rudimentary circuit that we've been talking about. You've built yourself the world's first circuit. And when you're wearing that, then, just experiencing that for the first time for everyone here that has it, go out and do just that, and you'll see exactly what I'm saying is true. Now, that might not hold, a week later, 2 weeks later, a month later, the people will adjust that are targeting you because they're human traffickers. This is their job.
Okay, but this is important. Mm-hmm. You might think you're a crazy motherfucker, but it works. Try it, please. You've got to try it. That's what I'm trying to interject, is that it works. It works. You might have to switch it. You might have to switch it a million times, but it works.
Yes, because they're going to target different parts of your body with different sets of electrostatics and magnetics, right? So they're going to tune their weapon systems differently to have different effects, all right, which is the same overall goal of making that heavy metal clump, which is a directed energy weapon sink right? So like they can pour as much directed energy weapon into that part of your body, and it will light up. It will inflammate and whatever. It will polarize your body from that point out, okay? Which makes even more heavy metals clump.
So if your body is being hit, wrap your feet, man. Wrap your feet. Wrap your feet. Wrap your ankles. Wrap your shins. Wrap that.
Yeah, the goal ends up becoming what works when it works. The things I'm wearing now, I didn't wear last week. The stuff I wore last week, I didn't wear the week before.
That's so true. I hate these motherfuckers.
Yeah, so that's, and Sandy, I don't mean to be harsh here, but there is, this is not, I'm just trying to tell people what it is. Sandy has been doing this effectively, and that's why I'm letting you speak so much, for a long time. And because you've done it effectively for a long time, there's this psychology, right, of like, you're breaking free. It's a hallelujah, right? You go through these hallelujah moments once, twice, 3 times a day. You're like, I've broken it again. I'm free again. And then it changes. And that can be very depressing, right? And going through that spike of adrenaline on a continual basis can be very exhausting, Sandy. So you really need to measure that, right? And I know you know that, like how exhausting this is.
No, I am there. And
yeah.
It's depressing. And I'm only speaking because I want people to know that these modalities work. And they have got to try it before they can even get, I mean, the more that I try, the more that they attack me, that I go, oh my God. So I'm not trying to make this seem like a fun game. I'm not trying to make it seem like a game. It's almost now me, my life against a force, and I stop this force. I talk to them on probably a maybe 2 or 3 day basis. So I'm not bragging about this, and I'm not making fun of it. I'm experiencing it, and I'm dying on a daily basis, and I want to help you guys realize.
Well,
that.
Sandy, let me jump in here. You're not dying before. I mean, we're all dying. So let me say that. But before, when you didn't understand, this was what was really happening with your body, how inflamed it really was, right? It's preposterously bad once you realize it. You can really feel it breaking free from it and then going back to it, right? You can really.
Okay, on top of that, so I eat. I won't eat anything somebody gives me. So people try to give me food all the time. I'm an apartment manager, so I'm always offered food. Like, oh, if you didn't eat, we have food left over. I never accept food that is trying to give to me. And golly, like I said, I'm drinking tonight. So, and I know that doesn't help this at all.
Well, and I understand. Look, that's why I brought this up, Sandy, because we really do appreciate your efforts more than you'll ever know, right? I really do. I'm not just saying that.
Am I talking too much?
Yes, you are, but it's only because, and I'm trying to explain this to other people, what the mentality of survival, when you really understand it, what it's really like. You have the power back in your hands, but it comes at an emotional, draining cost that we really, and this is true of me too. It's nice to be honest and not be mean about this, Sandy, but it's kind of nice.
No, I like this.
It's nice for me to see it in you because it takes some judgment off me, you know, because I judge myself too when it's like, because of this, how exhausting this can be, right? But it is very, very exhausting to break through and have these things happen again and again. But that being said, this is your power, right? This is your right as a human being to take this information and break your chains and know that the slavers will try to put you right back, all right? That's part of that. Now, Sandy, and to everyone else who feels like that was a black pill, All right, it's not a black pill. It's
No,
your
I don't
liberation.
take it. Yeah.
Okay, that's great.
Take it like that. Yeah.
What's going to happen soon? It might not be me. It might be one of you here listening, including Sandy. It might not be. It might be somebody else that's only watching the videos that chimes in, sends me an email. One of us is going to figure out the circuit to stop all of this. And it's going to happen soon.
That would be amazing. Oh my gosh, I talk about that and I'm like, we need whatever you have studied here and learned and used. It's like one day we'll advance all of this, I think.
But what happens is you do that and they get more devious, and that's where I'm at now.
Well, that's where we're at right now. So what are we doing right now? We're exhausting the technical and personal capacity for them to target any one of us. Eventually, that pool will end. We are going to out-innovate this situation, but we have to expose it for the depth of it where it's at. And,
they're evil. They're evil.
And I'm not talking particularly about personnel. I'm talking about technique, tactic, and technology. All right? And there will be a point. It's just like any weapon system, right? When cannons were first invented, right? There was no fortress that could hold a cannon back, right? Like they tried to build the fortress and the cannon overpowered it, and they tried to build the fortress and the cannon overpowered it. And the solution was not the fortress to the cannon. The solution was artillery, right? It was another form of cannon. So you blow up the other enemy's cannon as they're shooting them at you because you know by the trajectory where they're coming from. All right? And that's what I'm talking about, is that the rudimentary circuits that we first built are like the fortresses, and they have been overcome, and we're adapting them. But the idea that goes from not as effective in a permanent way will come about by the simple process of us fighting back accurately with knowledge of what's actually happening.
So when you fight back and you effectively start blocking them, then your honeypots and your other people will start coming in. It's amazing.
Yeah. They're going to try, and that's a valid point. They're going to try the old techniques, right? The old counterintelligence techniques, which Sandy was talking about earlier, poisoning your food, introducing these honeypots, break-ins, spraying herbicides and pesticides in your car. But guess what? If you're targeted, they're already doing all of those things. So they're gonna try to back more on the old stuff that they know works, because the new stuff isn't working like they were promised. Okay.
But you don't know that until it all bombards you, and then you realize, damn, okay, I'm a target. Mm-hmm. Because you want to avoid that. You want to think, okay, it's only this, so maybe I'm not being dude. Maybe it's just the gaslighting, because there's so many phases of it that you don't realize before the dues start hitting you. The covertly assassinations, the mobbing at work, and there's so many different aspects before it lands up being dude. I mean, you're just being gang stalked. You're just being street stalked. You're just, you start, and they go, well, I think that's why when you listen to TikTok and so many people say they're just being gang stalked. And I mean, there's different levels of this that goes to where I am at, and it is years of covertly getting me.
Counterintelligence. That's what this whole thing is called. If you took out the gang stalking and had to use the term gang stalking and had to use one term to accurately describe what all of us are going through, it would be counterintelligence. All right, that sounds like a fancy. It sounds like a fancy military term. Okay, that's because it kind of is. In reality, what counterintelligence is anything to counter your intelligence, and what that usually looks like on the ground for anyone.
psychological warfare.
Yeah, no, but that's one element of it. What it usually looks like on the ground is gang warfare.
Right.
Every gang, everywhere, anywhere that's operating in any capacity, is using the same counterintelligence tactics and techniques. All right?
That's exactly right.
Yep. So I call it counterintelligence because you can Google that and you can find out the military doctrine and hear some professor from Georgetown tell you accurately what's happening to you. Right? That's the only reason I say it. But on the ground terms of surviving this, it's like surviving a gang, which is obvious.
Yes, and we are surviving a gang. So you have to do the modalities to counter-react what they're doing to us. That's what you don't understand. I mean, I know it sounds crazy, but just start trying it. It sounds crazy. It sounds crazy to leave my lips. I'm from a middle-class family that had everything. So for me to leave the things that come off my lips, I have to say to people, I know you think I'm crazy, but so I try to leave that alone. And I go, I know this is happening to me. And I have to protect myself. So I have to leave crazy alone, and I have to try some of the modalities. And so what I tried to do is this. Number one, I did the stun gun thing, and I made that stupid thing, and I thought, oh, what the fuck? What am I doing? And I had somebody help me because I thought I was crazy. So I had somebody help me with that. And I started doing the stun gun thing. And the stun gun thing worked for about 30 days, 60 days, maybe even 90 days. And then
Hey, Sandy, where did you see the stun gun EMP video?
Oh, my God. Okay. So I saw the stun gun EMT video before I saw you. And then I started listening to the targeted individual. I started listening, and okay, I'm just going to be honest here. I started listening to everybody say that these people were controlling my mind, and that it was just, I started listening to all the PTSDs or whatever you call that. And it was triggering me and I was like, these people are not going to control my mind. I know they're not controlling my mind. There's no possible way.
So hold on, Sandy, I missed it. Where did you see the Onionhead Andrew content? I'm just curious where you picked that up.
No, so you were on targeted individual, you were on one of those classes, and you started talking about that. And I go, okay, that makes sense. Was it Gaji's website? No, it was targeted individuals, the .org, targetedindividual.org.
Huh, interesting. The events. Oh, so the first time you heard this was from one of the first classes.
Yes, and I go,
wow.
Okay, that makes perfect sense because there's no fucking way. So before I started investigating, okay, I have things in my house. So I started trying to figure out where things were in my house.
Okay, hey, Sandy, we're doing that thing where we talk too much about ourselves.
Okay.
I really appreciate you. All right. Can you please wait, because other people are gonna jump in.
I've got some technical questions.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead. I'll shut up.
Thank you, Sandy. I really do appreciate you, and I understand what's going on, but it's time to let other people talk.
Oh, no problem.
Appreciate you. All right, go ahead.
Okay. I'm a little bit confused on the order of operations. I watched your video, and then on this one you said it opposite. You said to do the sorry, I forget the words. Not the inductor, but the other one.
Capacitor.
Capacitor. On this one, you said to do the capacitor and then wrap it with copper. But I thought in your video you said, like, do the copper and then wrap it with layers of the capacitor. So what is the order? Like, if I want to build something for my head, for instance, what order of operations would I put stuff?
I understand completely what you're asking me. And the order of operation is either, okay? The best practice, in my opinion, is putting the capacitor first and then wrapping it with the copper, but that's not necessarily the right answer. If you can get away with wrapping the copper wire first and it has an effect just with the copper wire, and then you put the capacitor around it, that's less involved than having to keep the capacitor around you with the copper wire like a belt. So you move into whatever works in the easiest way to use it. Best practice is capacitor first, then copper wire. Easiest thing to do is copper wire, and then if you want, as an afterthought, we'll help you put a capacitor on it. Because those two are resonating together, and the conductive layer, which would be like the mylar sheets, or like holographic metal foil cloth. So cloth like dancewear, I think it's called, if you buy it at like Walmart, that it's got a shimmer, it's got literal foil on it. That would work as a conductor layer between the two. So it goes into what works best for you, where you are, what you're doing. As of right now, what I would do if I were you, Faith, I would get, if you already have it, great. I would get saran wrap, the conductor layer, which again would be like mylar, aluminum tape, aluminum foil. Those three things make great conductors, and copper wire, and just start messing with it. Know that it's never going to be perfect as of right now. When, like I was saying earlier, one of us will develop a circuit eventually that will be perfect, and then I will tell you, do this, do that, just like I do with the stun gun. When I tell people to build the stun gun, I say exactly what to do, but this is not the same. Go ahead.
So should the copper wire be just wrapped a certain amount of times? Does it need to be braided?
It does not need to be braided. Braiding adds capacitance to it. It does not need to be wrapped a certain amount of times. It's what works when it works. Okay, so have you used the stun gun?
Yeah, I haven't noticed very much from it, to be honest. But then again, I have two of Armando's spark gap generators already. So I might already be maxed out at how much spark gap help I can get at the moment.
No. That's great. I think what happened is that's so aware of you. This is a great question, too, for other people. His spark gap machine, what it does is it creates a frequency in the area that you are, which makes electrostatic and magnetic weapon systems be affected. Okay, so you turn on that spark gap. There's a little bit more to it than that. You turn on that spark gap, and their capacity to target you goes down. So sometime in the past, the human trafficking team that's been targeting you realized that they were going to need these other weapon sets. So when you deactivated implants, which Armando's spark gap machine does not do, when you deactivated it, they were like, okay, we were already doing this thing, let's just do more of it. We were already utilizing electrostatic weapons to help target her because she was using these spark gap machines, because that's what they have to do, that we'll just use more of those and we'll attack her probably with more higher powered laser weapons. But you still had, which is to say magnetic, which is also to say it's still good that you ran the implant deactivator, and you want to make sure you cover your whole body with it, because even if you don't notice it, it's a big part of breaking free. All right? So with that in mind, keep using the stun gun. It's not that it's not working, it's that you were already doing something that they adapted to a long time ago. All right?
Okay.
And so, okay, moving forward with the wearables, it's literally, do you have saran wrap on you right now?
I just bought some while you guys were talking.
Perfect.
I'm going to project tonight.
Great job. Do you have copper wire?
Yes, I have copper wire, and I also have mylar fabric, and I think I still have some aluminum tape left from an old project.
Okay, so this is the order of things I would do for right now. Do you have any magnets?
Yeah, I have some small ones, and then I have a big 3-inch one.
Okay, perfect. What I would do right now is I would take the mylar and I would cut a little hole in the top of it, so you can wear it like a poncho. Okay? Then I would take tape and I would make sure that mylar isn't going to split and run. So like duct tape. Do you have any duct tape?
Yeah.
Perfect. Great. You're doing great. You've already got everything ready right now. So take the mylar, cut the hole in the head so you can wear it like a poncho. Use the tape to reinforce that hole so it doesn't split and run. Now, once you've got that mylar layer on, then I would wrap that in copper.
Lost my signal.
Can you hear me?
Oh, okay. I can hear you now.
Yeah, they don't want you to hear this. They're not going to want you to hear this because you're going to implement it right now or very soon.
Yeah, it cut out. It cut out after you said first layer mylar fabric and cut a hole and put it over your head. Then it cut out.
And then use duct tape to reinforce that hole so the mylar doesn't run.
Okay.
Okay. Then take the copper wire and wrap it around the mylar. And the mylar will be touching your skin. Okay?
Okay.
That's it. You can take the magnets and you can attach them to the mylar, and you can feel the effect of the magnets on the mylar change the whole circuit that you're using. That's what I would do right now. Okay, then later today or tomorrow, you can build a capacitor mat. Sorry, I forgot the last part. Take the saran wrap, wrap it around the copper wire.
Okay. All right.
Okay, so it's those three things. Mylar, first layer, copper wire, second layer, saran wrap covering that. What the saran wrap doing covering the copper wire is it's going to contain more of that magnetic field that's being converted. And anyways, it's more or less going to helpfully redirect it to you to break up the heavy metal clumps in your body. And that might not be, you put it on, it might be like, okay, that's better, but it's not enough. But that first time, you're going to be like, holy crap, I can feel these heavy metal things break up. I can feel the difference. It feels like things are draining under your skin because they are.
Okay, cool.
That's what you're looking for.
I'll definitely try and get back to you.
Sounds great.
Pay attention to when you take it off.
Yeah, and as Sandy said, good. Pay attention to when you take it off because you will notice. And like I said, it might not be the solution, but it will be the first step towards understanding these wearables and your freedom. But of course, it comes with work. All right, who's next?
So Andrew, I have a question for you.
Uh-huh.
So the Armando spark gap machine, what does it do?
Okay, so it produces a bunch of white noise, which is actually more important than you would think. It produces a range from, last time I talked to him, I can't remember exactly what he said, but it was like extremely low frequency to 18,000 or 40,000 hertz, something like that. But it creates a blanket of noise in a near bubble around you. And it basically, it mates certain magnetic charges of certain propensity around you. It can be overcome by increased amplitude of the systems that are aimed at you. And that's why it's not a cure-all. Because if he can make that field strong enough and you would be in that bubble, then ideally when like a laser weapon would be sent through that bubble, it would be mated. The charge, that magnetic charge, mostly magnetic charge, would be mated and not interact with your body. But that's not the case because that field that would need to be produced would have to be thick, like of a thickness that electricity in a plasmatic form, which is to say a spark gap, doesn't reach. It'd have to be like a mist, like as ozone that was polarized. And then even then, if that ozone was polarized, which ozone is, it would still be able to move through it because then it can move under it or over it. That's the issue with them. People go, oh, it's infrared that's being used. It's ultraviolet. It's radio wave. It's gamma, whatever. It's whatever they need to work in that situation. They'll tune up and they'll tune down as far as the magnetic wavelengths that interact with you, and then the capacity of dielectricism in that magnetic wavelength. I know that's a bit much, but that's
so much, but it's, oh my God, it's
that's what's
so
going on,
hard.
Sandy. That's what's going on. Gigi, does that make sense?
Well, yes, but no, because they could. So I guess I'm just trying to understand, like, they could change it up. So the spark gap machine might not even be able to cover it. So then you'd have to get something like a software package that would cover different types of frequencies, and you'd have to play around with it. Because if they change it up, you have to change it up.
Yeah.
Or you have to have the ability. So I'm wondering if the software I downloaded from Amy, I could do that too, along with everything else that I have.
Well, okay, but here's the issue with that, and it's not just, it's like that whole idea is that that's their realm. All right, like if you're gonna like try to win an engagement, and and you're going against a professional boxer, like, but you've got to beat them, right? For whatever reason, this is just how war is in general. You wouldn't box them. You wouldn't like get into that ring and expect to have good outcomes. It doesn't make any sense, right? Like, this is the thing that they're good at, is identifying what frequency works and then honing in on it. And what you would have to do, like you're saying, is identify that frequency and then put out basically a jammer of some sort to disrupt it. All right, not only have they made that illegal on purpose, but that would be very, very hard to do. All right, so the better thing to do is go really, really low tech, right? Because it treats it at a more fundamental layer. Right? You can get into high tech solutions. Like I said, some people figure out some stuff that's very interesting. I saw one guy that figured out how to ping where they were attacking them from in real time. Right? So you can do very interesting things going into the high tech realm. But the low tech is the solution, because when we get down into these etheric forces, which is dielectricism, electrostatic on one side, magnetism on the other, and how to manifest electricity, then what we're doing is we're cutting out the ground floor. We're going right after the foundation of what they're doing, right?
Yeah, when you hit the ground floor, then you start realizing it's coming from above.
Well, what I mean by that literally is that we're building these rudimentary circuits, and eventually one of us is going to come up with the ideal, easy to do, to reproduce thing that's going to break through. And we just haven't got there yet, but we're getting there. I guarantee I shouldn't guarantee anything, but I have had this vision, and vision is not the right way to say it, but of a future in which we have figured out the exact right combination of technique and material to overcome this, right? Where we make a rudimentary circuit that is strong enough to dissipate frequency from extremely low up to gamma ray with a preponderance of dielectricism or a preponderance of magnetism. But that's what we need to do, and we will get there.
I realized that. So what I was doing, I realized it was coming from all of the streets around me. And I started isolating all the people that were. So when I was coming home, I could feel that it was people all around me. And when I started eliminating the people that were around me, because they knew that I was figuring out where that was coming from, that stopped. And I could feel a bigger force from eliminating the small people, which weren't small, around me. And
yeah, okay, so Sandy, this is more something that me and you should talk about, all right? Just because most people aren't there yet. But there will be a time when what you're saying will be relevant to them, okay? But we should talk. Okay. We should call sometime this week, all right?
So, Andrews, I have another question. Is there any way you could post that link of that video in the chat that you showed?
Yes, I'll do that as we're talking. Did you understand what I was saying?
Yeah, I think it's going to be tricky to find. I guess my concern is this, or just so the spark gap machine is going to help to a certain degree. You're going to need more. So I already built some of the things that you have on your channels. Mm-hmm. So I'm starting with that, but and I'll just take it from there. It's just a matter of tweaking, because one doesn't work for one day. It has to be something else. It's always trying to figure out which thing to use, but I'm okay with that. And finding out where it's coming from, which that green thing I had, which somehow disappeared yesterday or today. Imagine that, shocking. I know I'm onto something with that. I know I sent you those videos, but I know I'm onto something with that.
Can you remind me really quickly, please?
That was that green laser.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Okay, I'm onto something with that. I'm still doing some testing, but I think I could figure out where it's coming from with that. And that wasn't my idea. That came from somebody out in another country. So that helps me greatly, but of course, they know what I'm doing, so it disappeared from the house. But that, whatever.
You'll figure it out.
Another one.
And when you have more to share about that, I'll be very interested to hear.
Yeah, and I want to do some more documentation on that, because it's not only on the inside, it's on the outside now, because I take it on the outside also. So, and then I also have the tri-field. I have quite a few things, and I'm experimenting with it, and then also working with someone locally who's far more advanced technically than I am, who could figure out who in the neighborhood's doing it and triangulate and stuff. But I don't want to do that right now. I just want to figure out some other things on my own.
Okay. Hey, getting back to on point really quick, have your wearables been holding up?
Yeah, they have, and I'll tell you why.
Right.
So, like with the Mylar, and I don't know if everybody knows this, but with the Mylar is very fragile.
Yeah.
I find it very fragile. So it can easily rip. So the first thing I do is I'll just take the entire sheet of Mylar and wrap it. Then I'll tape the edges with aluminum tape or copper tape, and then I'll work from there. Because even when you cut it, you have to be careful, and you have to reinforce it right away. But my Mylar that I made from your video that one day with the strips of copper, I have it on both sides. So, and I'm experimenting with which side, because there's a shinier side than the other. So, that works. That's been helpful. I take that with me in my car. But I also make silly copper jewelry and stuff to put on my ankles, my neck, all sorts of things from the copper strand.
Do you feel it?
Yeah.
Do you feel?
Yeah, I do. I do.
Where do you feel, where do you feel it?
In my ankle, in my shin, in my wrist, in my toe. So I move it around.
But you feel it like that. I understand that. But do you feel it where it hurts?
Yeah, absolutely. That's when I put it on.
No. I mean, okay, so you're protecting those particular spots, but where does that hurt?
Where I just said.
Yeah.
Where I just said, the toe.
Okay, so how do we get
and I remedied that.
Hurt our head?
Well, so what I did, and this goes to your EMF thing, Andrew, that's the first thing I made, and because I had a problem with that, the skull and the neck on the left side, it was also left side.
Yeah.
I used it, and so far, since I've used it 3 times in that area, I haven't had that. So I don't know if I'm like on grace period here, but I should probably visit that area again, but it stopped it. And I told you it stopped it in my forearm.
Mm-hmm.
But they go in other areas. It moves around. So it's kind of like if you don't do your whole body, then it moves.
I want to ask you. So, okay, you feel it, right? So is it still affecting you to where it hurts, or is it like okay to drive, or I mean, what do you mean when you feel it? What are you feeling?
No, sometimes I can't drive. I have to use my other leg, believe it or not, for the gas. That happened twice. I had to pull over, and that was in my foot. So that was pretty painful, and I didn't have the EMP with me. I left it at home.
So you have to wrap your foot because they're zapping
your foot.
Yeah.
Well, right. Okay. Well, I have that. Right. The materials like free. Everybody. I carry a free, like a bag of like free. I call it freelance stuff, and it's just strips of wire, plastic, foil, aluminum tape. It's just a potpourri of stuff. So I have like my little first aid kit with me. So I use that stuff in the meantime until I can get home. But I can usually remedy it.
Okay, Gigi, that's fantastic. That's the type of practical application of this knowledge that, like when I was talking to Faye earlier, I was saying like that's what you want to be good at, is recognizing having the awareness and then using this tool set to treat it. That's exactly what we're talking about. So great job. I really mean that.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That's all I had.
No, I really appreciate it.
I want to pick your brain because that happens to me too. So I'm wondering, so you have to wrap whatever feet or ankles. So that's what I started doing, but it still kind of gets me. So I'm wondering what we do next after the feet when it's, I just
well, that's the Sandy. This is what I'm saying. We'll talk more this week, okay? Because you're at a different place than a lot of people. All right. So let's let other people talk, and then.
It's so frustrating because
I know it is.
Where I'm in.
I know, but we've got 44 other people here, not including you. Go ahead.
Good evening, Onionhead. This is Betty from Alabama, and this was an exciting, wonderful conference. High energy, and I want to know if this information going to be placed on your YouTube channel.
Yeah,
and if so, let us know. A lot of people don't know you have a YouTube channel. And
okay, sorry for interrupting you. Every class is on.
That's what
I'm sorry. The timing on the internet can be pretty difficult. I'm going to put it in the chat right now. It's Onionhead Andrew 0828. That's the channel name. Well, maybe not. I thought that was. Well, I'll get it up in the chat room right now. But yeah, every class is recorded.
Oh, wonderful. Now, I see you. Well, I just pulled you up on YouTube.
Onionhead.
And so because I'll listen to this information again because it's so important and just high energy. And I thank you for believing in your faith that this is it's going to be conquered. And this is what we a group of my prayer warriors this is what we talk about too. We don't like to entertain or listen to negativity because anyway, God is almighty. He's, as my mama would say, he's above the devil. And so, I just wanted to say that and thank you so much just for your positive energy in this excellent conference.
You're welcome. Please move through the information, and then my email is listed below the videos if you need to ask further questions. But very quickly, this is for you, but if there's anybody else that's new, it's a 3-step process. right? And today we've only been talking about the second step, really. But the first step is building and utilizing a DIY, do-it-yourself EMP device made out of a stun gun. Now, what you do is you run that over your whole body over the span of a few days. You keep doing it, too, as it goes on. But that deactivates these little tiny, tiny, tiny implants that every target has, or 99.99% of targets have. All right? Not the ones that you get in surgery. Those happen, too. But these little tiny ones that everyone has. Okay, that's the first step. The second step is what we've been talking about today, which is building and utilizing electronic components as wearables to dissipate or attenuate frequency being sent our way or energy being sent our way. And the third step is detoxing heavy metals and nanomachinery. It's those three things, when you do them together, that you enter this phase that is very dynamic, in which these people are constantly shifting the frequencies and the modes of attack to try to get you back in the weapon system. All right? But that's where you want to be. You want to be on the outside with people trying to drag you back in than stuck on the inside and no way to get out. It's my opinion.
May I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you. Excuse me. I need to build a wearable for my groin area. So I'm thinking like in the style of underwear or like volleyball shorts, something like that, that I can wear in and out of the house and wear to bed. Do you guys have any advice on that? I know Mylar can rip easily, and hearing to wrap it in plastic wrap really well first helps. But any advice towards that I would be grateful.
You would do it the same way that you would do anywhere of other part of your body. But go ahead, Sandy, if you've got a great idea.
Okay, so what I first heard from Andrew was, and what made me, was the red light.
I'm sorry?
That red light that...
yeah, it's an infrared incandescent light. It's very helpful for sexual attacks, but here, let me jump in here. The trick with the wearables is the same thing as we've been stating. When, like I was talking up to Faye earlier, when you have that long mylar, right? When you go to sleep, you can kind of keep it tucked in between your legs, or even as you're functioning, you can tuck it into your pants throughout the day. And you can carry the electrical effect to wherever that's touching. So, I mean, just think about...
So true.
Yeah, think about the limits of that, right? The application. You could protect your midsection, your genitalia, up to your throat with this same conductive layer, whatever that conductive layer is. The Mylar works great because you get it for really cheap. It's easy to modify. With a little bit of modification, it's robust. But you would put that layer on first, and then you would add the copper wire or the magnets or whatever it may be, and it will carry into that area. It's just something that you got to start working on. So like I was saying before.
Hey, Andrew. Hi. This is Regina, and there is a video on it, and you use magnets, and it's to protect that the groin area. I can put it in the chat room. It works really good. It is tedious to, you just got to put it together, but it's comfortable to wear out all day and even at night, and it does stop the attacks. I'll put the video in the chat room.
Okay, yes, please do. I'll review it. I'll review it, and I'll tell you what's happening here as we're going on.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, who's next?
Another thing that I did was take the Mylar, and I took the cables, the Romex cables, and I made them more like clamps. So they clamp around your body. And I made them where I could clamp them from my ankles all the way to my knees. And then I put, I didn't put any magnetic thing in between them. I just put a bunch of plastic wrap. And then I just made clamps all around my body. So that helps a lot. And then I take the clamps and I put the plastic wrap all around the clamps, and I sleep like that, and I sleep really good. And I try to...
So, hey, hold on, Sandy, just so I can follow. You're saying you use the wire as clamps?
Yeah, I take the Romex cables, and I glued them together, like line after line, and made them into a clamp where it would just clamp around my body.
Oh, okay.
Clamp around a muscle, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I take those at night and I put them around my calves and my ankles, and then I mylar, or not, well, I put mylar on first. Mylar on first is very important, actually. Then I put the Romex cables on, and then I take the plastic wrap and I plastic wrap my legs after that. And I sleep like that. And I cannot tell you how much relief that is. But
and if they adapt, Sandy will adapt too. And that's the key part of this. Yep.
Yeah, then I take magnets from that, those stupid named magnets. Sometimes I put them reverse. Sometimes I put them in polarity. So polarity means that they stick and on either side. So I have to really concentrate on what I'm doing when I'm doing that. And I don't feel anything. And then when I wake up in the morning, my hands aren't numb. So what was happening is my hands were numb and my feet were numb every morning. It was weird numb. And it would take me about 10 seconds to get my hands to have feelings in them. So I started wrapping Romex cable around my arms, and that started working. Well, before long, that wasn't working. So I took Romex cables, and I started making them like clamps that would clamp over my body parts. And I cut them, and then I would wrap around the plastic wrap. And then I would clamp them, and that would work. Well, before long, that wasn't working. So I put a little bit of magnets in them, and I'd switch them. And sometimes I didn't know. I go, oh, well, fuck, I've done this so many times, I don't know. So what does work is taking all those Romex cables, and I might sometimes put at night 2 or 3 Romex cables clamped around my body. But when I wrap that with cellophane and I make sure that there's enough the mylar underneath, that works. Oh my God, I can go to work, I can live, I can do anything. If I put the mylar, then I put the clamp, which is Romex, over that. And then I wrap it really well tight to my body with cellophane that very few things get to me. And I think that maybe it's my neck that they're hitting. So I try to, vacillate of what they're getting me in my car with. I haven't been able to figure that out. But when I'm sleeping, I can sleep really well with that, with clamps on me.
Let me jump in here. Faye, that's exactly what Sandy just described. The circuit she's using to wear is the one I just described for you to wear. So that's Sandy, I didn't tell Sandy to do that. She figured that out, because I don't tell anyone particularly to do anything usually, because I want people to just get it going however which way, and then you'll figure it out pretty quickly, right? It doesn't take very much time to start to figure out the order of things. It's like, how many times are you going to fail baking a cake before you know how to do it? Maybe 2, 3 times? And then if you're in pain, while, and to stop the pain, you need to bake the cake. You're going to figure it out really quickly. But anyways, what Sandy just described is the same circuit that I described to you earlier, Faye. So if anybody is listening to this right now and wants something they can do that will have some effect right now, it might be an answer for a day, a week. It might not be an answer at all. It might be an answer for the next 2 months, is put on that Mylar layer first, wrap copper around your midsection, then wrap cellophane around that, and then get a few magnets and put the magnets on the conductive layer as you're using these things, as weapons are hitting you, and you'll have some idea of how these things work, right? And like I said, you'll get some relief.
Question. Don't lack on the cellophane, because the cellophane, oh my God. So I was lacking on the cellophane. And I was really, so now what I do is take a magnet and I'll just wrap cellophane, and that works so well. Just one magnet and a lot of cellophane works really well.
The cellophane is a insulator, the Mylar is a conductor, and the copper is, like I was saying, it dissipates charge. So that's what's going on there from an electrical. Somebody said question? Go ahead.
Yes. With the copper wire and the was it Raymont?
Romex. Romex is just copper wire.
Is it just, because I bought some Romex wire, but it had white, black, and copper within it.
Yes.
So is that what we're using, or is there one with just copper?
Well, no. So each one of those strands is copper. The reason that we use Romex is because it's very easy to use and it's very cheap. You can use any copper. It does not even have to be in wire. If you had like a copper sheet.
One thing that's good with Romex is you keep using it, it gets more pliable. So every day that you're trying to like manipulate it, it gets a little bit easier to manipulate it around the muscle. So it's hard at first.
And it keeps its shape really nicely too. So it's both those things. That's why I like using it. That's why I recommend. And it's cheap. Every hardware store has it. But yes, any copper will do.
I was going to make a comment really quick before I forget. Can I just say I really love your approach and the way that you think in making this simplified and also using everyday objects, because that's been kind of my thing. Is I don't believe we need multi-million-dollar equipment to battle this, because it's just ABC science at the end of the day. And like I've been finding some of the strangest things are helping a little bit. Like I started experimenting with anisotropic stones, and I would encourage you to do the same, because I found that they can't yank on my muscles as hard when I'm using anisotropic stones.
Okay, can you link that, Faye, so I can take a look at it?
Sure. And then also like with the V2K, when it's screaming really bad at me and my ears are stinging, I found that putting olive oil in my ears takes the edge off. Like everyday household items. Like I think we really can. We can beat these assholes with sticks and stones.
Yes, that's the only way we're going to win. They have formed these satellites, this most advanced weapons that humanity's ever produced against us. The only way that we're going to overcome this is with a knowledge of what's electrically happening, and then looking around us to see what we can utilize. And you're right, Faye. I specifically always I try to find the cheapest, most basic thing that we can get to utilize. For example, I could be wearing better armor right now, better things to attenuate, way better stuff. Like, for example, new metal, there are various materials that work really good at blocking or shielding, but I wouldn't be able to tell you to go get it. I could not in my right mind go and get this new metal, because it's however much dollars for a 12 by 12 inch square, and I can't guarantee that it will help you longer than a few days. So I don't. It's the whole thing is, not only can I do it, but can I teach you all how to do it too? And then when enough people have figured it out, like Sandy, right? Then we reach a critical mass. I'm not in this. I'm sorry to make this about me, but this is important to understand. I'm not in this for just me, because not one of us is going to get out of this alive just by ourselves. It's going to take everyone to get, basically, to stop my family from being targeted, right? Any one of us individually could take this information and be free, but you cannot guarantee that the people around you that are currently around you, the ones you love and care for, wouldn't be taking your spot the next day, right?
I've been trying the stones because I'm a yoga person. I mean, my background is in yoga, 900 hours in yoga. So everything revolves around your spine to me. So I've tried all the stones. But Sandy, listen. Have you tried them in conjunction with these rudimentary circuits that we're working on? Have you put quartz on the mylar layer, for example? I have, and
you have?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm not so sure that the spine up and down with stones work. I feel, honestly, I mean, I started really with ether, all the rudimentary things of how things work. But then I started thinking about electromagnetic stuff, and it works so much more. It makes more sense. And I've put them, I've worn stones, I've put stones, all the stones in my heart, down my spine, up my spine. I have the chakras tattooed down my spine. So
check this out. I know what you're saying, Sandy, but check this out. And this is the type of things that we can all work on collectively, is experimenting with these things. When you squeeze quartz, it produces electricity, all right? So what does that tell us, what we just learned? We just learned that electricity is dielectric and magneticism with enough distance between the two to create a voltage, right? So voltage is that greater polarity, which, again, means enough space between these charges, so to speak. It's not actual space. I'm talking about metaphorical space. That's what quartz does when you squeeze it. When you induce a piezoelectric field, or when you squeeze it, it induces a piezoelectric field into quartz. Meaning, translate this to mylar, or to these rudimentary circuits that we're wearing. If you could induce a field over quartz, which would be two magnets in polarity, and you put quartz in the middle of it, it would produce an electrical effect. Now go try that.
I do that. So I actually have quartz in my bra. Every day I have quartz in my bra. I have magnetics on either side of my tits. So I do all of that every single day. I move rocks around my whole body every single day, trying to think that natural God is going to save me. So I'm not so sure about the rocks. I mean, I do rocks.
It's the configurement, though. Like, for example, it could be, and I don't know, I'm just saying, like, this is the type of thing that we all need to be working on. So whoever, if you're doing it, great, Sandy, keep working on it. If Faye, you working on it, keep working on it. Do the stuff that we're talking about, but experiment with these other things. And then if you hold them, it's like plastic wrap by itself. Who would have thought, right? If you just looked at plastic wrap, you would have gone, that's not going to help me, right? How could plastic wrap help me? It's plastic wrap. But then you put it in conjunction with conductive material, right? And then that's an effect. And then you put copper in between that or around that, and then that's a greater effect. And then you put magnets in or around that, and that's even a greater effect. So it's like recipes, right? Like when you're making a cake, for example, the quartz may not be the yeast, it may not be the sugar, but it may be the sprinkling on the top that we need to break this thing open. And I'm not saying that it is. That's what it is. That's what we're dealing with, right? We will figure this out, but we all need to be pushing in our respective ways and thinking about things and praying for guidance, because one of us or many of us, or this is probably how it usually works, is that one of us will break through, and at the same time someone else will break through at about the same idea. And then we'll come together and whammo. Right? That's usually what happens.
I think that if we go on the ether, the earth, thinking about those kind of things of how the earth works, that we will accomplish more.
Yeah, no, but that's one and the same, right? That's one and the same. We're not using, it's not that we're using the Eastern paradigm to stop directed energy weapon attacks. It's that we're looking at material and we're going, how does that relate to what we know? And can we do anything with it potentially electrically, right? Is this dielectric or magnetic? How is it relating to what we're doing? And can we incorporate it, right? It's just that the Eastern modality is giving us an idea. I'm not saying go out and use stones. That's not going to help you by itself. What I'm saying is that it might be the thing that we're missing. After you've done the rudimentary work, experiment with it and see if you can't manifest some of these electrical effects, right? And it's not just the Eastern modalities. It's across the board. For example, like you go, see, this is the type of thing, Sandy, this is exactly what I was going to talk to you about. If you go, when I was going to call you later this week, and we still will, but when you go to like a rock store, each one of those rocks is producing different frequency, with potentially different amplitudes. And it's a little bit off for the people that are just getting started, but like,
okay, so I want
to hold on, real quick. Go to an aquarium or like a pet store, right? How many thousands of different types of little quartz sand or, little things that you put in a fish aquarium, right?
Right.
It's something like that we're missing right now. We are going to figure it out soon. It could be, I could have just figured it out. It could be quartz sand. It could be that quartz sand is going to produce that electrical effect that we're after.
Okay,
but I don't know.
There's a frequency with money. So money has a lemon in it, if you didn't know it. So there's a frequency in money even. So think about that. Think about the frequency of money.
Yeah, I know, I have.
Yeah.
No.
So that really puts a lot to our.
So like a penny is zinc predominant. I don't know what a nickel is nowadays. I think it's aluminum predominant. I can't remember. But each one of these coins has got different metals in it, right? And it may even be that it's not just one metal or one material that we're missing. It might be the combination of the two. And it might be the combination of the two applied to a certain layer, like the insulative or the conductive or the copper, for the effect that we're after. All right? But again, this is the way forward. Right now, we don't have it figured out. Sure, whatever. One of us or multiple of us will break through as long as we all work on this, right? As long as the people here that haven't started recognize what I'm saying is true, right? Test it for yourself. Don't even believe me. Test it for yourself. Don't believe Sandy. And there's a few other people that have been doing the work here too, right? Don't believe them. Go about and do it yourself. You're talking about a minimal investment of time and money to get something going, okay? So you do that.
Don't wait till you're
hurting.
Don't wait till you're hurting, because the electromagnetism that they will get you with, it polarizes you and you can't live. So there's a humanity. I don't even know what I'm saying.
Humanity.
Thank you. It's painful, and when you experience it, you will start going, what can I do to polarize
everyone? Sandy, everyone here that's not a perp is experiencing it, all right? Everyone here that's not a perp, and I'm not saying this because, you really need to hear it necessarily. It's just I know you're hurting a lot right now because of the psychology of breaking free and having to do this again and again, all right? But it's pertinent to remember that everyone's here for this reason. Well, and then there's the fake people and whatnot. But we don't need to care about them. We're nearing 2 hours, something like that. Yes. Does anybody have any more practical questions? Go ahead.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
So I need to find out, something that Sandy said. So I'm trying to figure this out. So when you have like a lot of lumps, cluster of this, if you wrap the different components together along with the magnet, that will take it away, and so you just remove those nodules?
Well, the idea with the magnets is you can change the full field effect of the mylar. So you can make it the dielectric predominant or magnetic predominant. You came in a little early, you missed it. There was a video. It's in the chat. I linked it. You're going to want to watch it. And then maybe just rewatch the video because I'll explain it. But how far are you on yours right now? Are you wearing the mylar and all that?
Yeah, I'm making wearables, so I'm working really hard. So
okay.
I made one this week because the sexual attack was severe. So I made one of the I forgot what you call it, but I made one of those round, the brace. Yeah, I made a brace. I made it to my groin area all the way up, and that was, and then I made a belt.
Okay.
And so that helped a lot. That's what helped me a lot. And also, so what I realized when I'm getting those attacks and I'm not getting relief from the remedy I normally use, the essential oil and stuff like that, then that means they have implants all around my hips. You know, so what usually give me a quick relief, I made a poultice with bentonite clay and charcoal, and I apply it to the implants, and just put a Band-Aid over it, and I get it's just really a very quick relief. It's amazing. So it pulls out the toxins, and then the wearables, that's what is maintaining the area.
Okay, so let me translate that for other people. The bentonite and charcoal mix that you're using is demagnetizing that area and causing the heavy metals to declump in that spot. So great use of stuff to do that. The what you're feeling is implants. I guarantee from you using, well, I can't guarantee anything, but most likely from you using that high voltage EMP device for so long, they're not functioning. What they're hitting you with is a high powered laser now. So they've upped the amplitude and current of the thing that's been, of what was aimed at you before is now a much finer, more specific beam. All right? That's usually 9 times out of 10 what it is.
But I want to say one thing. So I found out that what you're experiencing, I found a muscle that almost felt like, so you know when you're have exercised too much and you get a cramp in your muscle, but I drink so much water, there's no way I can get a cramp in that muscle, and my muscle would cramp really bad, so I would EMT that really hard through that specific muscle. That's only happened once. It's happened in my calf muscle, and I just kept on hitting that with the EMF really hard, EMP. Mm-hmm. But I would cramp in one specific spot in my body, and I would just go, there's no way that this is cramping because I drink so much water and I'm exercising, so I would hit that extra hard. So I think one specific muscle had I hate to say this, but a nanowalker there. So I concentrated on that area. And
yes, but that's exactly right. It's got nanowalkers, many of them. These that's very, 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 very small. With the best way to think about this is when I say heavy metal clumps, after you have used the EMP stun gun, what's really happening is that these nanowalkers, which are a little bit bigger than DNA, not that much, but just a tiny bit bigger than the components of DNA, are crawling on you and in you, and they're clumping, they're attaching themselves to different surface area, and that is being polarized, and then very quickly the heavy metals are clumping to it in the exact same fashion that implants would. So that's what you're noticing, Expert One, is these nanowalkers. Hey, when they broke into your place, and this is true of every target, if you give them access, and even if they don't get access physical, they'll put it in aerosol. But what they do is they come in and they spray this crap over everything. And every time they spray it, it lasts about a year, give or take, in your environment. There's ways to speed it up, like what you were doing with the dioxide, chlorine dioxide, to help destroy it, but it still persists in your environment. And like I was saying earlier, they also aerosolize it. So for years, I have not allowed them to have access to my living quarters or that of my family. And what they figured out how to do was put it in a heavy chemical smell and drift it from one of their weaponized houses next door. So long story short, if you deactivate implants, right, and you detox heavy metals on a regular basis, if you weren't exposed to this weaponized aerosol or the break-ins, you would no longer be targeted, all right? But the issue is that we still have these nanowalkers to deal with. And when you're talking about this nano size, you're talking about an inch by inch of surface area that's sprayed with these things. You're talking about a billion different particles moving around, all with their own controllable, programmable, depositable payload that are moving. Geez, I sound like James Giordano here, but this is exactly what he was talking about. If you watch his videos, nanowalkers is one of the big things he's talking about. There's a bit, I wish I had it ready right now, where he's saying, I could take this pin of material. It's at the, oh, I got to mute somebody. Maybe that was James Giordano. He would be listening to one of these, by the way. He's the exact type of person that would. But either way, he takes a, oh, that's kind of freaky thinking about. If you're out there, James, big fan. I'm not a fan. But he said, I'll take a pin. And this is when he was at the Modern War Institute. And this pin right here, I can aerosolize. Right? He literally says that word, aerosolize, just like I am now. Right? So a lot of these things I say, I'm not just guessing about. These have been said, and not by me. I can aerosolize, and I can impact the way, and I'm paraphrasing now, impact the way that this whole classroom thinks. Okay? What he was talking about was he was talking about aerosolizing heavy metals and nanowalkers that you would breathe that would become somewhat mobile, however you want to say that, in your circulatory and then your blood system, and then be pulled to certain areas of your brain to cause targeted inflammation. All right? So when we talk about building wearables to overcome the directed energy weapons, really what we're talking about is building wearables to stop the effects of nanowalkers crawling on you and in you and depositing their payloads and then interacting with directed energy weapons. Okay? So thank you, Sandy, for bringing that up, the nanowalkers, because that's incredibly relevant. I just don't talk about it that much because it's too much for most of you to understand. That there's nanomachinery, so-called nanomachinery, that you breathe, that gestates in your upper intestines primarily, but also down to your colon primarily, that's where it's at, and then grows into your organ sac from there. That's the stuff that's in the chemtrails in the food. And then there's another type of nanomachinery that's specific to targeted individuals that they're spraying in our environment called nanowalkers that are literally just a little bit bigger than DNA that are crawling from the outside to the inside, right? And also depositing payload. So you've got two forms of nanomachinery that work together, all right? And most people that have been targeted and are capable people, like have a good regimen, have good habits, that type of thing. It's not to say if you've got bad habits, you're not a capable person. What I'm saying is that you've understood the detox protocols. When you understand the detox protocols, the number one way these human traffickers adjust to you, adapt to what you're doing, is by spraying nanowalkers over your furniture, your clothes, your bedding, your car, basically wherever you're going to be sitting or it's going to be touching you. And it will literally crawl from that touching thing onto your skin, and it's controlled by radio frequencies. So basically they paint an area of your body or multiple areas of your body with these radio frequency signals, and these nanowalkers will crawl to that area over days, literally days, because they'll get on you. It'll take them days for them to crawl to their spot. And then they'll deposit the payload when that spot is radio frequency activated. And that payload will basically become very quick, very short-acting nanomachinery, meaning that it can be overcome much, much quicker than the nanomachinery that gestates in you that you breathe and eat. You eat in corporate food, but also produce that gets sprayed with these chemical substrates that have it in it too, or components of it, and then it comes from chemtrails and the filaments. That was a great segue. I'm glad that I got a chance to reiterate that point. That's going to be very helpful for you, Sandy. And Expert One, that's what you're feeling. That implant feeling is that laser interacting with those nanowalkers that have deposited the payload in that spot. That's usually what it is. But did you have anything else you wanted to say, Expert, or ask?
Not really. Yeah. So I'm just working with the program. Thank you so much. And I heard about you on Gaji's show. You mentioned it twice, so I knew I had something in my hand. So that's what I'm working on with you. So yeah.
Oh, you heard about what I was saying the first time on Gaji?
No, I heard about your show on Gaji.
Okay.
She mentioned it twice on her show, and so that's why I'm here.
Oh yeah, Gaji is she's been a good friend in this fight, genuine.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Expert. It's always a pleasure to hear from you. Who is anybody else got any pertinent questions? Or if there's no,
I have a question. I'm not on the Zoom, but I just called in.
Go ahead, A Modest Living.
Thank you. Well, me myself, I was attacked in the eye about 3 years ago, and then now they attacked me in my ear, and they also did remote neural monitoring on me a few times. Happened in New Jersey and New York, but as far as the attacks, of course, they happened everywhere. Whether I was in a different state, cruise, it didn't matter. But one thing I can say is that when I was looking into devices, I found out that there is a device that only the government can buy, firefighters, law enforcement, what have you. And it's called LRAD, Long Range Acoustic Device.
Mm-hmm.
Now there are some energy weapons that it looks like you can purchase possibly on Amazon, but I don't really know what this device looks like. But I can say that I contacted a company and they only talk to government employees. But the gentleman, he answered a few of my questions before figuring out I wasn't a contractor or an employee.
Hey, A Modest Living. Real quick. They weaponized the whole spectrum, the whole electromagnetic spectrum, and like you were just saying, the LRAD is long-range acoustic device, right? So sound is a perturbation of air pressures, basically, and yes, they do weaponize that too. But that's one of potentially thousands of weapons that exist that are utilized against people. The bigger thing. The bigger thing.
Multiple use on it, but that
yeah.
Right now more pertinent.
If you're truly targeted, I guarantee you've had, potential more than 10, some probably more than 100 different types of these things utilized against you. The bigger thing is understanding how it happens in your body, how implants, heavy metals, and the energy weapon systems interact with each other. It's not just that you're being.
They keep attacking my ears, so.
Let me finish. It's not just that you're being attacked with directed energy weapons. All right, it's that there are things in your body, like you were just saying, that are interacting with it.
That's true.
The implants are clumping heavy metals for the most part. What do I mean by that? I mean the implants are literally sending an electromagnetic pulse, right? And that pulse is bringing in material. This is usually the case with most implants. And that material is becoming a clump or a backstop or a drain or a sink for directed energy weapons. Okay, so what I mean by that is once you've got a clump of heavy metal and it doesn't have to be that big. It can literally be the size of a quarter or a dime. All right. Then you have a drain or a sink, which you can dump endless amounts of energy into to inflame or polarize the body, which makes a bigger clump and a bigger clump and a bigger clump and a bigger clump. Okay. So if it was just for directed energy weapons, this happening to us, and it just being directed energy weapons, we wouldn't see the outcomes that we currently see. Heavy metals and implants play a huge part in all of this. And when you want to understand how those three things play together, then you can start moving into solutions. So I would say to you, go back and watch the previous classes, or just go on Onionhead Andrew on YouTube or Rumble, Onionhead Andrew, and you can start to see the evidence of these claims. Right? I have primary sources on all of it. I don't get into primary sources every class because we never get anywhere. But
okay, and I have a question. Is there any way to remove the sensors?
The
implant? That with the salt water?
No, the implants can be deactivated using an electromagnetic pulse. All right, you can build an electromagnetic pulse device using a common stun gun. All right, that's on the YouTube and the Rumble, how to build one of those. It involves buying a stun gun, getting a backing stick, some cardboard, some glue, and a little bit of wire. It's not nearly as hard as it sounds. You can email me if you've got more specific questions about that. There is go to the DIY playlist on YouTube. That's the easiest way to find it. It's the first two videos.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes. Yeah. One question. The aerosol that they spray on us, is that still connected with the implants as well?
Yes, the aerosols, great question. The aerosols are a lot of the times will become the heavy metals or nanotech heavy metals that gets pulled, that gets clumped. Okay? So when they release the aerosols, what they're releasing is chemical substrates that act like heavy metals or both. And sometimes they aerosolize the nanowalkers too to have even more crazy effect even quicker. So you breathe this stuff in, this nanotech and this heavy metals, it gets pulled to the implant and it builds that structure, that heavy metal sink or an avenue of heavy metal material from point A to point B that can be polarized. That's why, by the way, you can feel a lot of the times, I don't know particularly where you're at right now, but you can feel this going from the top of your head all the way to your feet because there's a literal chain of material from the top of your head to the bottom of your feet.
Yes, I do.
That's from the aerosols, primarily. That's why they need the aerosols going as much as they can. And that's great that you've noticed it. Do you live in a house or apartment?
A house.
Okay, so the primary way they're getting you is from releasing it in the air from your neighbors and then from your sewer system. So the easiest thing you can do with your sewer system, have we talked before?
Yes, we have.
Okay, you did. You plugged the drains already, I think.
No.
Oh, okay, that was somebody else. Sorry, excuse me. Plug the drains. Put rubber stoppers over the drains when you're not using them. It's very easy to do, very low tech. It's very effective. They'll stop using the sewers when you do it long enough. Okay,
perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome. And that's true. Hey, that's true of anyone here. Anyone here. You should all be experiencing your symptoms around the drains of your sewers, okay? Because if you're so basically all you have to do is you put your head over one of these sewers and breathe in. And if you get crazy symptoms in 10 seconds, 30 seconds, give or take, then you can know you've got vapors coming up from there. And then, like I said, just drop that rubber stopper over the top. Be done with it.
Can I ask, is there a difference? What about an apartment? I live in a really old, 100-year-old apartment building.
They primarily like to use shared walls in apartments. So if you've got somebody banging on a shared or near a shared wall, they've most likely weaponized that. But they also use sewers there too. And it's usually the bathroom, because an apartment, everything's plumbed through the bathroom, right? The drains, most of them come through the bathroom, and then on this back side of the bathroom is your kitchen. That's where all the plumbing comes in to an apartment. And a house, but mostly an apartment will be centralized like that.
What would it look like if I wrote a note on my door to all my neighbors saying, you better stop your aerosols and all this, and just put them on blast? The people that would know that they're doing this to you would go out of their way to make sure that you got 5150 or wound up in a mental institution. What's 5150?
It's the thing where they call the cops and try to get you in a mental institution. Because the thing is the people that know they're doing this to you know that they have the carte blanche. I think that's the term. They know they have a license to kill you, right? So that when they make the call, the cop that comes out or the social worker that comes out will be on the payroll. All right, so they'll frame you any which way. The second that guy is out and there's some sort of evidence that you're making these claims, they'll make sure that you're screwed, right? As best as they can. So if you ever do find yourself in that situation, right, do not answer the door, right? If you can, pretend you're not home. If they know you're home, then the first thing you need to do at that point is call everyone or anyone that cares for you truly and get them there immediately, because they'll put the setup on you right in that spot. When they did this to me all those years ago, back in early 2017, they used literally 10 people in on the take, 10 cops. They brought out 10 cops at the same moment. And when I said to the lieutenant, I said, what the fuck's going on? Excuse my language. What's going on out here? You need 10. My mom called the cops because she was scared for me. Not because I had done anything or said anything really, besides that people were following me, all blah, 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 blah. But she, or whatever, it doesn't matter who called the cops. But anyways, they came out, there were 10 people. And I said, Lieutenant, what are you doing? And he said, don't worry, it's training, and then winked at me, letting me know later on clearly that all those cops were in the know about what was happening to me to some degree, and they were all willing to go forth with it, knowing that I wasn't crazy. So don't ever put yourself in a situation where any of these emergency responders can do this to you, because some of them are pedophiles, some of them are psychopaths, and some of them are just scared for their families and their lives. And they'll do anything to put you away to guarantee their success in whatever endeavor, whatever reason they're back behind. Don't put yourself in that situation.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Don't expect...
Hey, Andrew, this is Lori. Oh, go ahead.
Hey, Lori, real quick, let me finish. Don't expect any good person to save you, all right? Just don't expect that. Some of them are out there, and they might help you along the process later on, but they will not save you during an incident like that. Okay, go ahead, Lori.
Well, I think that's... Oh, hi. Hey, I just had a clarification. You just talked about how with homes, mostly it's the sewer system and then nearby neighbors with attacks.
Uh-huh.
Well, with my house, so I'm not basically about an acre of land, and I don't have really nearby neighbors. I mean, so there's quite a bit of a distance away from them. So just wanted to mention that. And then also the fact of I have a septic system. I'm not on there's no city sewer access, so I just thought I'd ask about that.
That's a great question, Lori. I'm glad you did. What they do is during break-ins, they put the chemicals in your septic system, and then it wicks up just like it would in a sewage system.
Okay.
Yep.
So basically, yeah, go ahead.
To prove what I'm saying, and just do this once, because you don't need to do it more than once, but put your head over your sink and breathe in, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. I guarantee if you're on septic, that's what they do.
Okay. Yeah, thanks. I appreciate that. And then just one side note, I just wanted to say thanks for I know you've talked about it, but also I saw your video about the infrared light, and I did get one. I couldn't find incandescent one, infrared at 150, but I have using a 100-watt one, and it seems like it's doing quite a bit of good in addition to the heat. It's good feel, so appreciate that. And then, on one aspect, I don't know if it'll help or not, but I was thinking about, there was one TI that was talking about that she was using the red lights in her light bulb fixtures, and I haven't really researched that too much, but just wanted to throw that out there. I don't know if that would be beneficial or not.
Yeah. It would be beneficial for the same reason that's beneficial for you, but it would be just less active than the infrared, because the infrared, it produces a stronger, I don't even know, it's not, I guess I could say field, but it's basically, it's a magnetic charge contained in that light. Well, that's not quite right either. Oh man, it's confusing. The physics of it is that light is, see, this is too much. It helps. I'll just leave it there.
Okay, that's cool.
I'm wearing orange glasses right now. They are blocking, you can't see because you're on phone, but that are blocking some of the frequency that's interacting with my eyes, all right, or a lot of it. Having red light in your environment would be doing something similar.
Awesome. Yeah, and I did purchase the same pair, but the only problem with mine is I think they're accessing the back of my ear and the vagus nerve, so the pressure when I have eyeglasses on, because these cover the glasses, it seems like I'm still kind of trying to figure out if that's worth it or not, as far as, I mean, I've intermittently been using it, but I think they're hopeful with the...
Do you think they got tampered with in the mail?
You know, I don't know. I think it's more the vagus nerve behind the ear. The pressure of the is all plastic, but the frame itself, you know, hitting the up top of my ear, and then you know, basically the frame. So I'm still working on that part, but you know, still testing out.
If you ordered them online, the odds of them being tampered are very high, because that's what they do to glasses. So that when you put them on, you get all these weird pressures and you feel out of balance.
Good to know. So again, maybe I missed it, but what would you suggest on? Because I agree with that. It's best if we can just go to a local store, go somewhere and get our own, if possible. So what would you suggest on that aspect on getting a pair of the glasses?
Look up Facebook Marketplace and try to buy them off somewhere. You know, that's your best bet. That's how I got these.
Okay, off another person.
Yeah, and I just got it from a regular person. They sold it to me. It's no problem.
Cool. Okay. Awesome.
These ones, like I said.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I think it is, like you said, the internet, you know, the pause. Yeah. I'm not going to be interrupted by any respect. I just wanted to mention, too, about a question about Mylar real fast. Is that like the Mylar balloon material, or was it a fabric of the Mylar? I might have confused that part.
It's both. It's both. The Mylar balloon is made out of Mylar. The Mylar stuff that we're talking about is the emergency blankets. You'll find them in like a first aid kit, but you can also buy them individually from, you know, most like box stores. I think like even like Target would have them, for example. You know, or like Walmart or wherever. The sporting goods stores definitely have them.
In the camping department.
Exactly.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that information. I'm all set. Thank you. Someone else can talk. Thank you.
Andrew, I had a concern. You said, you know, you on the drains, you know, you plug them up so it can't come up through the pipes. Well, you know, if it's already on there already. When you look under your sink, you know, you have how it's like a U shape or whatever underneath it, and there's water there, and that's what it's already causing that, you know, effect. So it doesn't do that. You see what I'm saying? It's already established in your pipes.
Yeah, you know, I've thought about that a lot. I think in some application that really does hold, but I think that for a lot of the time it just slowly seeps through that water. Because
okay. I don't know. Yeah, you could be right, but that's what I'm saying. I don't know.
Well, and so I think during these break-ins too, a lot of the times, a lot of this is geo-fenced. So, and I noticed too that it's a great point you're bringing up, that when you open the cabinet, if your sewer system is being weaponized against you, when you open the cabinet below the sink, you'll hit a wave of this stuff. So it's almost like it's permeating through the piping, whether it's, you know, if it's more so if that's plastic or not, I'm not sure. I think it happens though with plastic primarily that it permeates through. So how you would mitigate that is you would make sure you've got that closed as much as possible, but also keeping that rubber stopper on there is going to help, just generally speaking. But you're right. But like, for example, your shower, that drain.
Or bathtub. Yeah, the bathtub. Yeah. The drain, on the bathtub way up on top where it has it so you won't flow over. That's one I'm not sure. That one too. I don't know if that's a separate one. Yeah, that's the same thing.
But hey, again, don't believe me, Joe. Go and do it yourself. Go breathe over your drains and see what your symptoms are. Do it yourself. Don't believe me. This is just something I've seen.
No, I'm not. It's good points. It's good points. But I'm just trying to add a little bit helps.
Yeah, good question too.
Can I ask?
But you're on target for all the other stuff. I appreciate it, Andrew.
You're welcome.
I thought they were using like a delivery system with the multiple holes, like the holes around the pipes, because there's always like a perp on the, adjoining, walled apartment. And so when the pipes come through up to your sink and things like that, there's a hole in the drywall under there, right? And I was thinking, are they pumping whatever aerosols or whatever through those openings around the pipes? Because I noticed real quick that anyone living on the other side of the wall, it would be like they had a smell of cooking, like strong garlic smell or a strong cultural food smell. And then I would start feeling weird because it had a chemical edge to it. Very consistent behavior because I've been in this 30 plus years. It started in 91 for me, 92 with the brighting and all of that. And I was just wondering, because I get knocked out to sleep, and the bathrooms are usually near the bedroom and such, But I was wondering if it was coming in through several, under the sink situations.
You've said a lot to address yes, in any shared wall application, it will try to be utilized to spread that chemical aerosol bullcrap into your space. Also, the drain will be utilized on their side of the apartment if you share a drain farther downstream, which is usually the case. So they pour something down their drain, your water goes down your drain, their vapors come up your drain.
Right? And you know what, Onion? They would flood my kitchen jointly with the pipes. Has anybody else had that?
Now, hold on. Now, the third thing that you brought up, which is very relevant, if you're getting, quote, knocked out for sleep, then you really, really ought to be thinking about deactivating implants and building wearables, right? Because that's an electrical effect. And basically, whenever you have that, like it feels like a very intense headache or like you've been concussed, that type of thing, what's going on is always roughly the same thing. A chunk of nanomachinery between your synapses of your brain going down into like your lower chin, usually. I don't know if you can see what I'm saying, but down into this area, your artery right here, will all be flash triggered, which they have the propensity of doing this with certain weapon sets. Will be flash triggered, and it'll be like it's burning up just for a second, and it causes this mass effect. All right, that can be helped with building wearables and deactivating implants.
Because they've been flipping me on and off like a switch. They can just knock me out to sleep and wake me up. They've been doing that the past couple days.
If that's the case, then you really, really, really need to detox. All right, because you got a bunch of heavy metals and nanomachinery in you. That's the only way that works. And usually, it's because there's some other inflammatory agents in your diet too. So that's a whole nother conversation.
Thank you for the information. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Can I
All right,
ask about, sis,
go ahead.
Thank you. I'm sorry I'm raspy. My voice is raspy.
Oh.
What are those glasses called?
The ones I'm using are called Sleep ZM.
Thank you.
All right. You're welcome. I'll write it down in chat right now. I just got lucky, like I said, off of Facebook Marketplace. But if you're clever, you can order things. But you should be clever. If you're just ordering Amazon straight to your house, it's going to get messed with or whatever, anything like that, especially Amazon though. Okay, we're nearing 6 o'clock. Does anybody got any pertinent questions?
Actually, can I ask a question really quick?
Yeah. Yep.
So I'm wondering if you know, or anybody else here, if radiation or any kind of like, graphene oxide or anything pertaining to being targeted is something that reduces the iron levels in the blood.
The best thing for that is going to be alkaline. Alkaline from an electromagnetic standpoint is binding it. But to answer your question more specifically, actually there is a better, I wouldn't say better, but a literal substance you can use to bind that's fantastic, that's cheap, that's readily available, charcoal.
So something like activated charcoal supplements?
Yeah, activated charcoal supplements, yes, but anytime you have anything that's produced for human consumption, it's going to be tampered with, especially something like charcoal. Baking soda is another example of something that's tampered with that would help you. And I know this is something that's maybe it's too much for you, maybe it's not, but making charcoal or finding charcoal, like actual literal charcoal from a fireplace, what have you, and consuming that, what you do is you grind it up. You put it in like a coffee bean grinder, and you can make your own capsules if you so choose to capsulate it, or you can just take a spoonful of it. And by the way, if you're having any sort of dental issue, that charcoal and like that, almost nothing better for your mouth, whether it's related to targeting or not.
Like if you're having like cavity pains, or you mean if you're being targeted in your dental area?
All of it. Any inflammation in your mouth, there's almost nothing better than charcoal because it remineralizes your teeth as you're consuming it, and then it binds those heavy metals or even like iron in your blood.
That's really interesting. By the way, synchronistically enough, today I installed a new coffee machine exactly because it grinds raw coffee beans. So how do you like that, huh?
Hey, there you go. Get some charcoal from wherever. Like literally, you see somebody burning when you're driving through the country, and just stop by and be like, hey, can I have your charcoal for $5? Because and they'll give it to you.
I think I may have someone actually. So basically you're saying just like grind it up and you can just sprinkle it on like food, drink, and such.
Exactly. Yeah. I take it straight, but I have probably, I don't know, any given day a spoonful, maybe more, maybe less of charcoal a day. It helps fantastic with my teeth, but it also helps.
It's probably similar to those C60 supplements they talk about, right?
I think it's better. I think it's way, way better than anything that you'll buy off the shelf because it's pure. It's just charcoal, and there's something about charcoal that's just, I think that was the dentistry of 2,000 years ago or 200 years ago. Like why people, in Africa, a lot of these people in Western Africa that aren't living in the city have these perfect sets of teeth because it's like they're just eating charcoal on every meal and not even noticing, not even thinking about it.
And so I was using the fish tank charcoal. Is that okay? Fish tank charcoal for the filtering.
I wouldn't do that, but I don't know. It might be. Here's one that I do know you can buy. Charcoal for the garden. Charcoal you're supposed to put in plant boxes or whatnot. That's just charcoal. There's nothing extra about that. If you go to any of these stores that have charcoal in non-human grade application, and you see it's just charcoal, you're totally safe to eat it. But obviously, use your brain. Use your brain. Use your brain.
For dental is
could
bleach.
be super safe
You're
and
gonna sound
make your
really
own.
gross. It's gonna sound really gross, but I've done it and I haven't had cavity in 20 years. Is you dilute you put a tablespoon of bleach in water and you just put it in your mouth for about 30 seconds and then spit it out. And that'll kill everything in there. It's better than anything to kill all the germs in there.
Okay, I don't recommend that because I don't know anything about
it. But I know I wouldn't, but I'm just saying it's worked for me.
Okay, that's great. And then
few studies on it, but not many.
Yeah, I don't know anything about it, but I hear you. And then somebody was saying make your own.
Yeah, for the activated charcoal. For the activated charcoal, it it's literally originally from nature. You would just get it from burnt wood. So you could get like a $5 barbecue grill, sit there and burn some wood, and then the ash from that is literally activated charcoal.
Exactly. That's exactly, and it's such a good tool for everybody. Like I said, now that I've been using it for, I don't know, 3-4 months or something like that, I will never go back to not using it. It's that, and because it's so easy to find, you know?
Andrew, I just wanted to ask you if you're familiar with Get Detoxinated.
No, I don't know anything about that.
Okay, they're in Sacramento. They do sauna niacin detox, and it's the detox that was done for about half of the 9/11 firefighters. And only 2 of those that were treated with it developed the cancers and things that 40% of the other group has had. This was started by a Navy doctor from Vietnam who was detoxing DDT and Agent Orange. So I've done their detox 3 times. It does require use of a sauna. But I just wondered what you thought of it, and maybe you'd like to look them up. I know the guy that owns it. I've helped him give some presentations in the past. It's just something to think about because the way you time taking niacin, you take it 2.5 hours before you start exercising. You exercise for 30 minutes, then you sauna for 45 minutes. You do this for 30 days, taking niacin, and there's other things you take too to make sure you're opening up your detox pathways and stuff. And then you get rid of about 60% of your lifetime accumulated toxins because it's the action of lipolysis occurs where the fat cells actually open up. So you can let about 3 times more toxins out. And then what they typically do is they do it once for a month, and then you do it for a month about 4 to 6 months later, and again 4 to 6 months later. And so the body continues to, even when you're in the in-between stage, the body, now that it's gotten such a burden taken away, it continues to detox. So anyway, I just wanted you to be aware of that. It's a pretty interesting protocol.
Well, I thank you. I don't know particularly about that, but I do know niacin is a helpful tool. There are many, many ways to do the third step of what I'm teaching, which is detoxing heavy metals and nanomachineries. And many of them are hyper effective, some are somewhat effective, and some are just a little effective. The things that you'll find are hyper effective are the ones that remain the most untampered with. All right? So you think about that. If you go to the store and you get a niacin pills, all right? The people that are doing these things, right? Not just targeting, but the whole nanotech genocide that we're currently in, very much understand the power of natural supplements. Those people use natural supplements, all right? The corporate families, all that bull, right? Those are the people I'm talking about. They very much know to put poison in these things and make it so that they're somewhat or mostly sterile, okay? And what I mean by sterile is ineffective. All right, so with that in mind, the easiest, best thing you can do for yourself, it's not easy, it's easy in the sense of how to do it. It's actually hard, the discipline factor of it. But the first time you do it will help you a lot. And that's stop eating. All right, go a day, go 2 days, go 3 days. At your first time, go 6 hours, go 12 hours, go 18, go 24 hours. Your first time, do it small, then work your way up. Don't be afraid of it. It's fasting. Fasting is hyper effective at getting crap out of your body, but it only reaches hyper effectiveness at about 2 days. Anything after 2 days, give or take, depending on your body, you're really sailing, okay? That first day, though, is still effective. That second day, even more effective. That third day, hyper effective, okay? That's why everyone talks when they get into fasting, they talk about, oh my God, you wouldn't believe how I felt on the third day. Because after the day and a half, give or take, the water weight drains off you and your internals start compressing these so-called forever chemicals out of your body. No, it's a big misnomer. There's no forever chemicals. Anything through a long enough fasting will come out of your body. Your body will actually consume it. Go ahead.
Have you ever done up to 2 weeks? I read somewhere that was the most effective.
The longest I did straight was, I think, 11 days or 12 days, 10 days, something like that. I think it was 12, somewhere around there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's still pretty close. How
was
that one.
It was about day. I live with family too. I don't live by myself, so day 10, it was becoming. I was too loopy to interact with them, so I had to stop. I can't remember the day of that or the next night, but the first. I regularly fasted for 5-6 days, but the first 2 days first day is the most difficult because of habits. The second day is a little bit hard, but not as hard. The third through the fifth day, it gets hard, but for other reasons. I was dry fasting for most of that, but the third through the going on to whenever you stop, it becomes more and more of a spiritual feeling. It literally will feel as though you're being untethered to your lowest self and feeling closer to God. It's an amazing thing. Yeah.
Did you notice any significant difference doing the one that was closer to 2 weeks versus like the 5-day fast?
The big thing is after day 2. That's the big. You'll notice when you do this regularly. Right when that water weight comes off of you, then your internals start squeezing, start compressing, and that's when you really feel. You can literally feel the energy go from your groin and your intestines up to your stomach, your higher stomach, and then into your chest. You can literally feel the transfer of energy, and it literally feels like you're getting closer to God, like in a literal and metaphysical way.
Hey, I did one day, but I'll keep trying. Thanks.
Yeah, just keep clicking away at it. Go ahead.
Yeah, Onion, this is Saki from Atlanta, joined late. Just a quick suggestion, and I think I talked a while back on that, but I'm taking a different approach now. I have access to Rumble and YouTube, so I can go back and I do that and look at all the stuff, and it's very helpful. But sometimes I've noticed on other calls I mentioned TIs, and there are TIs who say, and even when I played your videos on some TI calls, so other TIs can, in a group setting, and many TIs says they can listen to it, they don't have access to internet or YouTube. So I was wondering, would it be feasible to, like Saturday you did a call, Sunday you can do re-put this call on free conference call and listen only mode recording, so you don't have to babysit. And then people know that who missed it, they got a second chance at just recap, listen to the whole thing. They're not watching it, but at least they have a chance of listening to it.
Yeah, no, I think like you said last time, I think it's a great idea, and I've been thinking about it ever since you said it, about what would be, and beyond that, and I appreciate your contributions. We need to get this information to as many people as possible now, because this is the only, feasible do-it-yourself approach to targeting, to overcoming the whole, the paradigm, to overcoming what they're trying to do to us, right? And so, and this goes for anybody on the call. If you've got any ideas like that, please let me know, because everyone needs to know this. People are dying every day. So yeah, I appreciate that. I've been thinking about it, and I'll look more into implementing it this week.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
A couple ideas on that. I want to, as I learn how to do this, I've met other TIs at the TI event here in Seattle, and I want to start a workshop dedicated to the shielding and wearables that you're teaching us. It'll go strictly off of what you're teaching us. So it'll all be Onionhead Andrew based, because that's the realest thing to me right there. I think that, this mutual aid support group me and Richard in Chicago want to start, I think that we should add that to the mutual aid support group, so that people are not missing out on what you're teaching us.
Okay, yeah, I got Richard's email. I just hadn't responded yet because I got busy, but I'll look more into that.
You're cool. Thank you for everything.
You're welcome. Okay, hey guys, we're nearing 3 hours. I'm about maxed. So unless anybody's got any more pertinent things they want to say real quick, we're going to close it down. Is anybody? Okay. It's been a pleasure, as always, to talk to you and try to get through this situation. May God continue to bless us, and may God have mercy on us. Thank you so much for your time.
Tweet, tweet, tweet. Tweet, 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 tweet. Ooh, 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 ooh.